shall bestow a gift on the child.
Before the sun sets on her 16th birthday, she will fall into a sleep like death.
So let me ask you, is playing a princess a dream role? It seems like, must be.
Yes, I mean, when people would ask me, like when I was little, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would say a Disney princess, because that's kind of your goal in life, to wear that tiara and, feel like that. I'm super girly too, so it was a huge, Sleeping Beauty was my favorite growing up as well, so it's like a huge goal. And to be a Disney princess, I feel like that's kind of the elite, like to be welcomed into that community of saying that, like, I'm Aurora. Like, I'm still, like, wrapping my head around that I'm Aurora, It's so weird.
Can you tell me about the experience of being on set and just entering this magical world?
Yeah, it was a huge, like, production, pretty much. We were in Pinewood Studios, and, there were so many sets that they had built, but then also, like, you'd be standing on the built sets, but then there'd be, like, green screen and blue screen behind you, and all these little, tennis balls and that you're looking at that are creatures. So you have to, it was so much special effects involved in that. You really had to use your imagination.
I guess start off by telling me, growing up, did you have Sleeping Beauty?
We did.
Uh-huh.
We had a strange mix of kind of British and American stories and movies and stuff in South Africa. So I very much, grew up with the same kind of fairy tales as, I suppose, kids in Europe and America.
Have you gone back? Has it changed the way you think about it now?
It has. It's definitely changed the way I see Maleficent, obviously, it was interesting. I think that was the interesting thing that they did here was really try and give some sort of interesting twist on why somebody would do something like that in a more believable way, perhaps.
What is it like when you're playing a scene that you begin as a bird?
Well, there was special effects guys there that sort of told me what positions I ought to be in as I come into land and things like that. It was strange. It was a new exercise in acting, but it was a lot of fun. I don't usually get to play funny things. I'm more the crying, chain-smoking guy.
Was this a good experience for you then?
Much more healthy, yes. No, I loved it. It was completely new and massive. The sets were incredible, and obviously getting to work with Her Royal Highness was a perk.
Can you tell me a little how you begin to form this close bond that the characters have?
Well, we had some rehearsal time, which is quite rare for movies. And she's a really easygoing person. So it just kind of happened. It was it came pretty naturally.
You've worked with some really amazing directors in the past as a production designer. How did that fuel embracing a project of this size as your first film?
I think it was crucial. I first realized the power of directing many years ago. But when I met Peter Weir, we did a film called Master and Commander together, and I spent a year's time with him. And he was a really special influence in my life and about how to find human emotion in characters. And then the luxury of having to worked with James Cameron and Tim Burton and Sam Raimi and many others. I don't think you can help but take elements from that and experience from that and then go into something with a great deal of confidence.
It's really impressive too to see some of these things that you illustrated realized for the screen, which has been happening in these other movies, but what's it like being in charge of that happening yourself?
I think entering into this as a director, I had sort of one eye on the just naturally, because that's what I did for so long, just naturally on the world itself and the design element of the movie. But I was really fascinated with the working with the actors and performances and storytelling in general. That was sort of this new piece of art that I had never had the opportunity to deal with. And so it was really satisfying to sort of combine those two elements and hopefully we've created something very interesting and entertaining. So,
can you tell me about meeting Mr. Stromberg for the first time? It's an impressive debut for a first-time director.
Yeah, incredible. I mean, he's an artist as well. When I met him when I did my first casting, and he showed me this room that they had set up at Pinewood Studios, where he had all these drawings and everything. So you could really see, I could see what my characters would look like when I'm changed into other animals, and also what the world would look like. And you know, he'd worked with Avatar and many other films. So, I mean, he's a real artist, and he was a great director to work with as well. I mean, you wouldn't know it was his first time.
I walked in, before we started filming during rehearsals, he had a lot of these like kind of mood boards set up, and they had sketched out so many different things just to kind of get the vibe of what, you know, our film's gonna look like. So we walked into this room and saw so many different things and so many different spinning wheels on, you know, which one is gonna be the right one, the length of the needles, you know, everything, all the details are so important.
Well, I think, you know, the thing that struck me the most about Rob when I first heard that he was doing this huge film, and it was his first, as a first-time director, you know, you sort of figure he must have something really amazing. And I went into the room full of the kind of concept art for the different worlds and the characters and everything with him. He was showing me, and I said to him, who did this, you know, work? Who are you working with on these things? And he just very quietly in his way said, no, I did most of it myself, you know. And he literally does. So the creatures, the worlds, everything, he's just an absolute genius when it comes to creating magical worlds, as you can see in the film.
As far as playing this character, how do you get in touch with that sort of darkness before the camera rolls?
You know, I like to not take the stuff too seriously. You know, it is a fairy tale, so it's like, I always like to play characters where I'm having, where possible, a bit of fun with the character. So although he's the villain and he is dark, to me it's not true horrible darkness. You know, you kind of, you know that you're playing a bit of a caricature in a fairy tale world. And so for me that's easier. To play somebody who's evil or, you know, being horrible.
Can you tell me a little about the expanded cast? What sort of relationships, when you're dealing with these three fairies who seem to be largely motion capture?
Yes, because I had one scene with Imelda, Juno, and Leslie in their, you know, real form where they're actually life size, because a lot of the time they're like teeny, and so when they were small, they weren't on set. They just had cardboard cutouts of them that we could look at. And they did all their stuff in a different place, kind of in green suits. So it's so funny how they merge everything together. They take little pieces and then they can, you know, put you in there somewhere. Because I have to float a lot in the movie. Maleficent kind of makes me go to sleep and float all the time. So I was on this rig, and yeah, I had to kind of figure out the positions of what it would look like when they actually put me into the real set.
Are you going to be going back to production design now? Are you going to stick with directing? Or is it a mixture from now on?
You know, I'm looking into lots of things. I would love to direct again, do something else. I have many things, talking about many things, but you know, production design is not out of the. I don't see why you have to just do one thing. If you enjoy many aspects of different types of roles, why not pursue them all?
Bring me her head.
I call on those who live in the shadows. Fight with me now!
Is it true? Are you Maleficent?